is world famous, and not just in New Zealand. Cook's Gardens in Whanganui is where Sir Peter Snell made history, breaking the 4-minute mile on grass.
Yeah. Basically because of Snell, the legacy of that world record, people come here to run a sub 4-minute mile.
5 decades on, it's no longer grass, but it's still a pilgrimage for athletes from all over the world. To date, 65 have run under 4 minutes, and many have tried, including some of the best.
We're talking about people like Steve Cram, world record holder for the mile, who came, but he didn't break 4 minutes. But, you know, it's like a who-who in world athletics.
Yeah.
People like Mo Farah ran here.
Who came in 1965?
Oh yeah, Jurgen Mai
Jurgen Mai.
and Kip Keno.
Yeah.
And Jurgen Mai actually broke Snell's record. It was 3 minutes 53.8, which is still the fastest mile on grass track in the world.
And for those that were there on the historic day in 1962, the moment they'll never forget is when it was announced that Snell had not just equalled the record but broken it by 1/10 of a second.
Norm Nielsen, the announcer, when he said that he'd equalled it, the crowd went, we all went, oh, you know, great, clapping and cheering. And then a couple of minutes later, he came back and says, oh, I'm sorry, he said, there's a mistake in the program. He's actually broken the world record for the mile.
Today, the Whanganui Manawatu athletics and cycling clubs are some of the strongest in the country, thanks in part to Snell's remarkable feat.
It's the magic that, well, it is the legacy that Snell's created for us in Whanganui. And we've been lucky the Athletic and Cycling Club have built on that over the years.
It's Snell's connections to Whanganui that also brought local athletics identity coach Alec McNabb out from England in 1973.
I do know a lot about Peter Snell because I'm only here because of him. He came to Loughborough where I was studying, and we were a bit, be true to say, we were pretty impressed by somebody who wasn't there as a scholar, who was working harder than we were. But while he was there, he'd been in touch with Whanganui had been in touch with him, looking for a teacher to do phys ed and athletics at Whanganui Collegiate. And I was that person, so I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. That's absolutely the truth of it, because I hadn't thought of New Zealand in any way. I knew a lot about him, being a distance runner myself, and I'd just actually finished my thesis on middle distance running, and a number of times I wrote Snell and Lillian down. I would hate to think, but then he arrived, and the next thing I knew, I was being interviewed, or I had dinner with him, and he then suggested I was interviewed and arrived here. I've just been doing the unofficial stats from New Zealand schools, and Collegiate ended up as the top school in the country in terms of medals and top 8 placings, and high school in terms of top 8 placings have got the second best record. So it's, I think, a lot to do with the club we have here. We've put on pretty good club nights, just regular competition. When I started here, it was Thursday nights, but then it moved to Tuesday in my second year here, and it's been there for 45 years on Tuesday nights. Basically every Tuesday, apart from this little spell over Christmas. He came here to open the statue. His first comment was, you're not quite as trim as I remember you.
A typically Kiwi comment from the man who put New Zealand athletics on the map. Georgie Ormond, Local Focus.